This is part 33, preparation for NSE4 exam. HA failover, high availability failover, and workload. Failover protection. The most common types of failovers are device failovers and link failovers. Device failover. The secondary device receiving hello packets from the primary FortiGate. Link failover. The link of one or more monitored devices goes down, and then we can configure high availability cluster to monitor it. And if monitored interface on primary is unplugged or the link is down, then new primary FortiGate is elected. Other types of failovers are remote link failover, memory-based failover, SSD failover. Remote link failover. When one or more interfaces are monitored, FortiGate uses the link health monitor features to monitor the health of one or more interfaces against one or more servers that act as beacons. The beacon is like a lighthouse or other signal for guidance, like for example radio transmitter emitting signals, and it acts as a beacon. The primary FortiGate fails the automated penalty of all failed interfaces and reaches the configured threshold. You can also configure memory-based failover. Memory utilization on the primary FortiGate exceeds the configured threshold and monitored period, and then another new FortiGate is elected as a primary FortiGate. SSD failover. If solid-state disk failover, when FortiOS detects extended file system ext-fs errors in an SSD. This type of failover is only available for the devices with SSD, solid-state drives. There are multiple events that might trigger high availability failover, such as a hardware failure on the primary FortiGate or an issue on one of the interfaces on the primary FortiGate. When failover occurs, an event log is generated. Optionally, you can configure the device also to generate SNMP traps or alert emails. SNMP traps are simple network management protocol traps, and SNMP trap is a type of SNMP protocol data unit, PDU. Unlike other PDU types, with SNMP trap, an agent can send an unrequested message to notify about an important event. We can also send alert emails. Identify failover protection type by looking at event logs, SNMP traps, and alert emails. Make sure that you enable session synchronization pickup for sessions you want to protect from failover events. It is done for seamless session failover, and this way primary can resume traffic for these sessions. Failover protection configuration. Failover protection configuration is supported only on physical interfaces, redundant, and lag interfaces. LAG is Link Aggregation Group. It is a combined collection of physical ports. LAG interfaces use flat port to broadcast addresses for the switch and flat packets belonging to unknown addresses, and for other broadcast and multicast traffic. When you configure high availability, device failover is always enabled. However, you can adjust settings that dictate the failover time. To speed up failover, you can reduce values for the following of the settings. When we configure system high availability, there is a CLI command, config system HA. First, set HB, HB stands for heartbeat, HB dash interval, and then we can put number of heartbeat units from 1 to 20. Then we can set heartbeat interval in milliseconds, for example 100 milliseconds or 10 milliseconds. It's a heartbeat interval default setting and it varies by model. For example, using the default values on FortiGate 2000E models result in a device failover time 1200 milliseconds. It is 1.2 seconds. And third, set HB dash lost dash threshold. We can put value from 1 to 60. It's the number of failed heartbeats before the device is considered to be dead. And note that when we set heartbeat interval in milliseconds, 10 millisecond heartbeat interval is supported only on NP6 platforms only. Network processors 6. On FortiGate 2000E model device, default values for heartbeat interval in milliseconds, and thresholds are as follows. Heartbeat interval HB-interval is 2. HB-interval-in-milliseconds, it is 100 milliseconds. Heartbeat lost threshold is 6. So we can calculate the total failover time by multiplying all these values. 2, it is heartbeat interval multiplied by 100 milliseconds, multiplied by 6, and it's equal to 1200 milliseconds. To configure link failover, you must configure one or more monitored interfaces. We configure it using CLI config system HA set monitor, then we put interface 1, interface 2 and other interfaces, and then end. You can configure only physical, redundant and LAG interfaces. When configuring the remote link failovers, first configure LHM, Link Health Monitor. To configure it, we use CLI command. Config system-link monitor, edit, then we put port HA, set SRC INTF, then we put interface, for example, port 1, set server, and then we put server IP addresses, for example, 4.2.2.1, 4.2.2.2, set HA priority 10. Dead link nominal penalty is not synchronized. Then put next, then put end. Next step, we configure high availability settings related to remote link failover. The configuration instructs FortiGate to perform remote link failover on port 1. Set ping server monitor interface port 1. This instructs to perform remote link failover on port 1. Set ping server failover threshold 5. This elects new primary if accumulated penalty reaches the threshold, which is 5. Set ping server secondary force reset enable. This elects new primary again at the end of the flip timeout. Set ping server flip timeout 30. The next primary election is in 30 seconds. End. When port 1 is detected as dead, the nominal penalty, which is 10, is added to the global penalty, which is initially set to 0. If the accumulated penalty reaches penalty threshold, which is 5, we put set ping server failover threshold 5, then cluster elects a new primary. A failover occurs when a secondary member has a lower accumulated penalty and becomes a new primary. The cluster doesn't elect a new primary again until the flip timeout, which is 30 seconds. We set ping server flip timeout 30. So this 30 minutes until 30 minutes passed. If during the primary election the accumulated penalty of all members is the same, then other criteria such as monitored interfaces, priority, uptime, and so on. Then they are used as T breakers to elect the new primary. Thank you.